What's up, everybody? It is March 12th, a fine Wednesday in Akron, Ohio, and I've got James Sketching the Beast joining me here tonight.
From Akron, New York.
I tend to forget that there's multiple Akrons.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll tell people I'm from Akron and like, oh, that's right down the road. I'm like, yeah, like 6 hours down the road.
Nice.
Minor detail. I think it's down towards Georgia, maybe. There's an Akron and a Canton real close to each other, and it's the same as in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
So I've actually had situations where I'm like, oh yeah, I live, 20 minutes north of Canton in Akron. And they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, wait a second.
which area are you talking about?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, folks, we got a lot to get caught up on tonight. I am coming off of a 2-week hiatus. I had a last minute function get together. I had to apologize. This is me apologizing to you, the audience. Last minute engagement I had to ditch you guys for a couple weeks ago. I had to take care of the in-person stuff. And then last week I was in Lexington, which is a 4-day show, which means early travel. And by the time I got done with setup and everything, it was already past 7 o'clock. And I was ready to go to bed.
Yeah, I'm wiped. Yep.
Yep.
Setup always takes it right out of you. You're like, I'm done for the night. I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah, well, and I will talk about Lexington. I'm going to save the recaps for later, I believe. But
Okay.
yeah, Lexington in particular, it was so cold and windy when I showed up. I think they were saying that the wind gusts were around 60 miles an hour.
Ooh.
And it was just warm enough for the cold rain.
Oh.
Like, it would have been better if it was snowing, kind of thing.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think there's a number of things that have contributed to why I'm in the state that I am in. But I just want to say hi to the chat here tonight. Dave, thanks for joining. What's up, brother? Dave, I also appreciate you checking in. I had made no announcement saying that shows were canceled the last couple of weeks. And Dave was kind enough to reach out to make sure I wasn't dead in a ditch somewhere. So I appreciate that.
That's nice.
Yeah. But it's been a busy couple weeks, and it's only going to get busier for me. I know I've got like 4 or 5 conventions in a row after this. Kind of waiting to hear back on one.
Yeah. Nice.
But what about you, James? What have you been up to?
Just a whole lot of work. I too I'm getting ready for con season to start. I got I got 3 shows back to back starting the end of this month. So that'll be fun.
There you go.
Probably the most amount of shows I've done in such a close proximity before. So we're gonna see how this goes. This will be interesting.
You actually get into a nice groove with it. It's when you get like a 2-week break after that.
Yeah, then you're like, you get into the hiatus and you're like, you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to order my stuff.
Did I forget how to do conventions? Yeah. Dave, I appreciate that, man. This is a fun time, and in fact, I think I might start doing some additional streams. Just keep the Wednesday night sort of the any artists that want to jump in, hang out, talk shop. But I might do a couple additional streams a week, just depending on time. I'm the kind of person that when 7 o'clock rolls around, if I'm working on something, I'm watching or listening to a podcast in the background. So it's kind of hard to give up a couple hours of productivity to be entertaining, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
And have you done draw streams before where you're, got the camera facing your pen?
Yeah. I mean, I do them all the time. I mean, that's what my Whatnot shows are mostly now.
Okay.
It's just me drawing the whole show. And then I was doing Twitch for a while.
Yeah.
But I had an NDA for the last project I was working on, so I stopped streaming for like 6 months because that was all I was working on.
Yeah. Makes it really hard to stream.
It does, yeah, it really does. It's like, I have so much time to do things, and then I had edits after edits after edits, so I'm like, I'm just falling behind. More edits I had to do, so so I stopped streaming, and now it's been tough for me to even get back into it. So like just doing the Whatnot show for like 2.5 hours, just do like a pop-up Whatnot show and just like, I'm just drawing, and people want to buy stuff, great. They want to chat, cool, whatever,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel like I need to do some more Whatnot streams more regularly. I'm doing like one a month right now, and It's good. I mean, I always, walk out with a handful of sales, but it's a weird revolving door. You see all these people pop in and go, pop in and go, pop in and go.
Yeah, it is. It is. It
Uh,
seems to me, it's very much like its own little market. Like people will switch to other streams and like, oh, there might be a comic I want to get at this. Oh, let me switch back to this one. Oh, he's working on a piece of art. Let me switch back. I've seen that a lot. I've seen, like, I got a couple guys that just come in, leave, come in, leave. You're
no,
like, hey, I'm like, hey, what's up, back? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
it's nice when you get a few people that hang out for a while and
Yeah,
just kind of chat and BS. I feel like that Whatnot has become a sort of a social club for a lot of people. Just
yeah,
hang
yeah,
out, BS.
yeah.
But I am looking to do more. Like I want to keep Whatnot sort of in a rotation, but making this show sort of this central point. People can come together, talk shop, talk about what's going on in our worlds and conventions and stuff. Like Dave here says he is working on a Damascus etch on a few pieces.
Ooh, Damascus is cool.
I feel like these would get cut up a lot if I was doing that. Yeah.
You'd have so many cuts on your hands. You'd be like, I can't draw.
I was trying to figure out, and it's just sometimes you have those dumb moments, you don't put two and two together right away.
Yeah.
I had this really bad, like half blister, half callus, like peeling skin on my left thumb, and I'm like,
Ooh.
why the hell is that happening? And I'm like, because sometimes when you're drawing, you hold the paper with one hand and you draw with the other, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think. I was like, oh, I was putting together canvas boards. Canvas boards, you got to stretch the canvas, so you're
Oh, and
constantly
oh,
pulling.
wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think of that.
No, it took me probably 3 days to figure that out.
That's funny.
Brilliant, even. I'm gonna do some recaps probably towards the end of the show as far as my experience over the last couple weeks. I was at the Cleveland Tattoo Show, and I was also at Lexington Comic and Toy and Comic Con, Comic and Toy Con, Comic and Toy Con. Both great shows, two very different shows. But there's something else going on in the world that came to my attention. Is not the video that I sent in the link.
Ooh,
Okay. So this, I'm throwing a curveball.
Gotcha.
Yeah, curveball right out the gate.
You send me a video, I watch it. Now you're like, we're gonna throw that out the window.
We'll still talk about it. This one is just, it is hitting. I didn't realize how hot a topic this was. I started getting a bunch of suggested videos for it, so we're gonna take a quick peek at this. But yeah, Dave, you're running a whole different line of OSHA risks there. Sharp metal, heat. I've got
Call the inspector.
the most dangerous thing I got is a paper cut. But I'm gonna share
Those suck,
screen.
though. Those
Oh,
suck.
dude, not great. Not great.
Probably nowhere near as bad as getting cut by metal, but they suck.
The worst is cardboard. Like if you open up like a 12 pack or something.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have. I've seen this a lot today, specifically. Funny enough, we must get the same stuff on our feeds.
Yeah, well, especially in the comic book world, there is no bigger name than Stan Lee.
Yes.
So when it hits trending, it's going to be on everybody who's even remotely in the world.
Yeah.
So in the chat, let us know if you've been seeing this pop up on yours too. But have you watched like the trailer to this?
Yes. Yeah, I watched the trailer and then I watched some clip that was floating around.
Yeah. I didn't know a whole lot about this. In fact, I've only seen maybe 10 seconds of the trailer.
Yeah.
That's when he's sitting by, it looks like he's sitting by a dumpster. Like backstage at a con.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick peek at this and kind of get some thoughts on it. And in the chat, if you guys want to weigh in on it too. Oh Jesus. And Dave just chiming in one more time with had a nail removed from his finger last May. Ugh. Every time I got this electric staple gun that I use for the putting together my canvases. And every time I'm using that thing, I'm like, one of these days, I'm gonna get
You're gonna get your finger
straight in my finger. Let's see. I'm not sure if the audio coming.
My name is John Bullerjack.
I can hear you.
For the last 4 years of Stanley's life, I was his assistant, his confidant, but most importantly, his friend. I traveled the world with him, witnessing firsthand the incredible highs of his legendary career, but also the heartbreaking lows. Stan spent his final years enduring mistreatment, manipulation, and betrayal.
I'm gonna pause real quick because I don't know how long I can play without getting some kind of like copyright thing.
Yeah. Well, we're adding to it, but yeah.
Yeah. The shots here of him like in this back room area, and then also behind that freaking dumpster. There are more scenes like that at a convention than the Rockstar scenes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the unfortunate truth.
Yeah, what you see is not what you get when you're in that status either, right? So
no, that's if we're gonna talk about the music world, you know, people think that we're the rock stars being artists coming out, but we're more like roadies sweating all the time, lifting stuff, carrying stuff.
Yeah.
But let's get back
at
to
the
it.
hands of a few very bad actors.
Is there any way to get us out of the San Francisco thing? Or do you feel we gotta do it?
Gotta do it.
At the time, I didn't have the power to stop it,
Poor Stan.
but I did have a camera and I filmed everything.
Whoa, watch out!
Now I'm asking for your help to finish the film and finally get justice for Stan. This documentary includes firsthand accounts from key witnesses, including comic book legends like Rob Liefeld and Roy Thomas, as well as many others who saw the chaos and unethical acts. This isn't speculation, it's all on camera. Undeniable.
This is old Stan Lee coming at you. No, you're not old.
Irrefutable.
I thought I was finished, but apparently I'm not.
No ambiguity. With your help, we can finish the film, expose the truth, and give Stan the justice he deserves. As a bonus, I'm going to share with you some insights on the film from some of the most well-respected creators in the industry.
I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect.
When I saw the documentary, I knew some of it, but like most people, I didn't know all of it. And there were pieces of it that blew me away.
It's a lot of emotions, dude. It's a crazy roller coaster.
Seeing Stan in that situation,
Oh, Tyler.
being taken advantage of,
I've never seen a
was
picture of
really
him.
hard to watch. Because I just think,
I don't think I've ever met these guys.
Mm-mm.
I know I've seen their names at plenty of shows.
Mm-hmm.
My only, I don't know if claim to fame is the right term, but near interaction was apparently CGC was getting one of my sketch covers graded, and he was picking stuff up from Tyler Kirkham, and he was like, "Whoa, who drew that?" So I'll take that as a win.
That's awesome.
I wasn't there to experience it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll take it as a win.
I like Tyler's art. He's good. I've just never seen a picture of him.
Yeah, he's really good. I guess while we're stopped here, I think the challenge you run into with any documentary is that like you can really selectively edit.
Yep.
And get really one-sided with a
Yep.
lot of stuff.
Yep. You can. I don't know if you remember the Nickelodeon thing behind the scenes where they were exposing like, you know, the sexual inappropriateness that was going on behind the scenes. You remember that? I can't remember what the documentary was called.
I never saw it, but I had heard about it.
Yeah, that's one of the things is they kind of attacked that one guy, again, awful name, sorry. The one director guy, and he's like suing them because like for defamation, because he's like it was very one-sided. Like they didn't even get his side of the story. Do I still believe a lot of it? Probably, but they made it seem like that guy was way worse than anyone in the entire world, and that's the way they filmed the documentary, the way they talked about it. There was no like positive selection of stuff that was coming through. It was all in the negative stuff.
Right.
So yeah, agreed.
Well, and from the defamation standpoint, I mean, if you're just recording people's opinions and showing stuff that was actually filmed or actually recorded,
yeah,
you have a real hard time making a defamation claim.
Yeah.
I mean, because none of it is saying like this guy for sure did this and no proof, and it's a provable lie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how that's all going to unfold with that scenario, but with this one, I think there's going to be even more challenges. I'll save those comments till we're done hearing from our art buddies here.
Oh, I was thinking of my parents and my grandparents.
So I think it's important that people see that even the guy at the top, the most successful comic creator, isn't protected.
This film shows behind the curtain that not a lot of us fans get to see.
This isn't just a fluff piece trying to attack somebody. This is like, I'll just show you in their own words.
I had no idea how badly he had been exploited. And that's a message that people need to hear.
I really miss Stan, and just watching it just felt like I really got to know him again. My thing that I hope that, this documentary really does is, shine a light on what was going on truly with Stan Lee.
Interesting stuff. There was a I didn't watch the whole thing because it's over an hour. There is a interview that this guy did, this John Bolerjack, if that's how you pronounce his name.
I don't know.
He did over an hour interview with Pop XP Network. And I just kind of clicked through real quick because I didn't have an hour to listen to it today.
Yeah. That I didn't watch.
There was one clip that I had heard, and of course I didn't save the timestamp, but he had made a mention that Stan didn't realize, I guess, how quickly he was blowing through some of his money. And I can't help but think that the side of the story that may not get attention, I don't even know if it's true. This is me speculating. Very clearly, this is me speculating, internet lawyers.
Yeah.
Is that if the guy really needed money and he's reaching out to an agent to get him fast-tracked onto a bunch of conventions, get a bunch of signing deals, that person who has to work, day and night to get all these things arranged is probably going to take a bigger cut and force him to do more things than I shouldn't say force, put more on his plate to get Stan to the number that he wanted.
Yeah.
That's my guess. No idea if that's true or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to believe considering how much he was charging for signatures and photos. I wish I would have known. I would have brought my picture down. But when I met Stan in 2000 and what year was it? 16, maybe 15. I don't know. But it was a long time ago. It was way before like all this. Like he started getting really sick, and like you could tell like he wasn't doing too well. Before all that, it was $100 just for a photo.
Yeah.
Which I guess now is kind of standard, but back then people were started charging like $50. You know what I mean? Like
that's a $100 back then.
Yeah, $100 was all a ton. Pardon my French. And so I mean, you got literally this was Boston Comic-Con. Literally people just going around lined up around the entire building to get into this. I'd probably say about at least half of them wanted to see Stan. It was probably a good hour wait to get to my photo. So like, you know what I mean? Like that $100 times however many people in that economy too. Like that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and who knows what kind of deal he had arranged. I know for bands, one of the reasons why so many bands get hosed right out the gate with their labels is that the deal that they sign is a lot of like up front, the money that you make is going to cover cost of like travel, hotels, the staff. So he might have to do 50 to 100 signatures before like expenses are even paid.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You would like to think that this guy's getting the best deal possible, but we don't know. We don't know the story, and I would have to believe that's going to be the details that get left out of the documentary. But
who knows, man? Maybe.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's also interesting that it's coming out like now, right? Like how long has the guy been? When did Stan pass away? It was
I'm not sure. Does
like
anyone know on the chat?
4 years ago?
I think it was something like that. Um,
So
It's
what is
very-
what has this guy been doing the last 3-4 years that he's just coming out of with this now, right? Like,
yeah, that's if you scroll through the comments on these videos and even his Kickstarter,
yeah,
um,
I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of those. A lot of people are like, this seems like a money grab.
yeah.
Look at the tiers. Like some of them are just like outrageous and outlandish, and
Excuse me.
um, and people are like, I mean, if you're gonna try to raise this much cash, I mean, like, talk about, elderly abuse, then like, use that as a platform to raise money for those people that do that kind of thing. Yeah, 2018, that makes sense.
There you go. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, the challenge is that if you've got, let's just say you're the agent. I'm playing total devil's advocate tonight, like 110%. If you're the agent and you have signed up for Stan to do X amount of speeches and X amount of appearances and X amount of and you've got a guy that is elderly, he's tired, he loves his fans, but also doesn't have that energy in him to keep up with it.
Yeah.
It's gonna look a lot like the guy is beating him over the head trying to get him to go do the things that he signed up to do.
Yeah.
Maybe there could have been a more realistic deal struck up, like, hey man, I we can do 5 appearances this weekend, we could do 2.
Yeah.
What are you capable of doing? What realistically do you need to do?
Right. And when you're that old, he was almost 90, or correct me, he was almost 90 or 90. When you're that old, I mean, you're
Yeah.
not gonna fight the guy that's handling all this stuff for you either, right? You're not gonna be like, I really don't want to do that. We're not doing that. You're just gonna be like you did in the video. Do you think we can get out of the San Diego thing? I mean, that's a big convention. If he's talking about San Diego Comic-Con, that's a huge convention for an late 80s, early 90-year-old to be doing a show like that, having that many people come to you, get signatures, get photos. I mean, the
As the
photos,
headliner of headliners, man.
right. And like, doing all that, making sure he's got enough time to relax and stuff like that. Like, what was taken care of for him and what wasn't. And even though he's just sat in the chair for the whole time for the photo booth, that's still probably pretty mentally exhausting when you're that old. Like, you know what I mean? I'm exhausted just sitting at a convention waiting for people to walk to my table.
I'm exhausted, and I haven't even like packed the van for tomorrow to hit the road. Like,
right, dude. Like,
uh,
so I mean, I really feel for him, and like, I mean, it sucks what Stan went through. Happy for him now that he's moved on and he's hopefully in a better place. That he's no longer dealing with that. But yeah, it's tough to see, it's tough to hear, and I mean, there was a lot of talk about that, like after he passed away too, right? So it's not unexpected.
yeah, that's going to be like some of those artists at the end kind of chiming in that they had heard certain things or they had seen certain things, but it was eye-opening to see everything else, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they're going to do interviews like that, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
This was, so like I said, I just kind of clicked through this probably in 10 to 15 minute intervals and would listen for a few seconds. But there's one comment that John had that that was kind of interesting to kind of your point on like the clarity that Stan had, like mindfulness where he was at. He said that you could walk up to Stan and say that he said something like you could walk up to him and say that a UFO landed outside, and Stan would be like, "Oh, really?" And he'd just go with it. He'd be like, he'd start asking questions like, well, are there ambulances out there? Are there police out there? Like,
Yeah.
he just kind of went with whatever was going on.
Yeah, that's awful.
So if you have an agent that's trying to say like, well, hey, you're telling me you need to hit these kind of numbers, we need to do this kind of work, I need you to show up and do X amount of speeches or Q&As, or we can't do a 2-hour signing today, we need to do a 5-hour signing, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I could see Stan just be going with it, because what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, right. I mean, you're like I said, you're not gonna fight the guy. You're you don't have the energy to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And another point, Michael chimes in with 90-year-olds don't have as much butt cheeks for padding. Sitting down for long periods of time would hurt. It would hurt. The convention chairs are not comfortable. A very good point.
It's probably true. Yeah,
That's probably true. I haven't personally investigated the Stan situation, but
I'm gonna pull out my picture and see if he's sitting on a donut.
God. Oh. Dave says, I remember Kevin Smith saying he offered Stan a place to stay at his house.
Oh wow.
Interesting. I'd like to see the context on that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
See what kind of situation that was. But yeah, I intend probably it'll probably have to be next week when I get home. Probably gonna listen to this whole interview. There's one clip I kind of saved it here. So as far as like the what's the word I'm looking for? The authenticity of this guy. Here's they asked him some question in regards to like, is this guy taking advantage of Stan, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot do that to him. Like he looked at me the first day I was back in the eyes and he said, everybody I know that I trusted has betrayed me. I need your help. Like, and then he said, please don't let me down.
Isn't that crazy?
And it's like when an old man who's like broken is looking at you and he says, please don't let me down. Like, that's the only thing that still gets me teary-eyed when I think about it. And I was there, like I saw him when he died, and that still doesn't make me as teared up as that, because the weight of a human being, like just asking you not to let him down, and like it was very like heavy, and I was like, I cannot do that. Like,
so if he's being authentic, I hope this at least sheds some light on Stan's side of the story. I really hope this wasn't just a cash grab by an agent taking advantage of a situation.
Yeah.
But like any story, I don't think we'll ever get both sides.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to. I mean, from what we've seen, right, so far, it's tough to be like, okay, what's the true context behind this, and versus what's being said and what's being shown. Right. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. I think the challenge that they're going to run into is just the scrutiny on the public perception level of like, this is a cash grab. Because all the comments in all of these videos that he appears in, I mean, what's the guy's name? Charlie something or other, Penguin Zero. He's a big YouTuber guy, comments on stuff. That was a suggested video that I got, and it was like 9 minutes of him just tearing into like, why'd you wait this long? You're just sitting there filming this guy get, throttled by his agent and this sort of thing. Like,
right. And that was a lot of the comments I saw too, was like, I can't believe if it was that bad that you were just sitting there recording the whole thing. And he's like, says it in this video. He's like, oh, I was like too afraid to do anything or something. But like, I mean, then clearly you didn't stand by everything that Stan taught over the years with his stories and stuff,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, that's what leads me to believe that it was probably a one-sided deal. It was probably a rough deal, but it sounds like it was something that Stan had signed up for.
Yeah.
I'm not justifying any of the behavior, any of that, but it sounds like that's probably the side of the story that we're not going to get in this documentary.
Yeah.
There are some interesting challenges. You brought up defamation earlier. I think this documentary is going to run into more issues with legally getting cleared than anything else.
Yeah, it says legal fees on their post-production costs.
Yeah. So their target goal is 300,000, which they're at about 40,000 right now.
It's a lot of money.
I don't think it's enough. Just plain and simple. From what they're describing that they're doing, he had shot most of the footage on his own when he had that time with Stan. They're talking about doing recreating scenes and stuff. Now, I don't know if that's going to be like a car pulling up to a convention center or like walking into I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to get an actor that looks like Stan.
That would be awkward.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if it's just for like B-roll stuff, where it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, like dramatizations. Yeah,
sitting by a window, picking up the phone, his head going down, like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff adds a lot to the film. I just don't, from what he's describing here, paying the crew. I have no idea how big the crew is. Feeding them, which is going to happen like if you have to travel on site to film, or if you're going to conventions, that all gets rolled in. Equipment rental, soundstage space, set construction. If you're building sets, like
Yeah.
it's not just the building materials, you're also renting the space that you're building the set in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, making a movie or a documentary, it ain't cheap. So yeah, I mean, 300,000 probably definitely is on the cheaper side of things.
yeah.
But
Now, and I think where they might run into some legal issues, talking about like defamation, is if they have somebody playing the agent or these other guys that might have been, causing issues for Stan. That's where you're going to get into trouble. Like, if you didn't have exactly what they said, or you changed the tone or the context, like I could see that being an issue like instantly.
Yeah.
But hair and makeup, editing, music comp, visual effects, color correction, sound design, effects and mixing, song clearances. So if he's going to be using any sort of trademark song or a copyright song,
those things are a pain in the butt.
Yeah, especially music and content. Because I mean, if you're gonna have Stan Lee on there, you're definitely gonna want to put up pictures of Spider-Man and Captain America, and Fantastic Four, possibly clips of movies, which maybe you have to contact Sony, maybe you have to contact, depending on what all they decide to do with the production.
Yeah.
And then I think unfortunately, I think legal fees alone, he needs more than 300,000.
Yeah.
At any rate, stretch goals aren't stated. The risks and challenges is bringing the truth to light is never without its risks. Documentary delves into the real story behind Stan Lee's final years, exposing those who wronged him. Excuse me. As a result, I face potential threats to my personal safety, frivolous lawsuits meant to silence me, and other efforts to suppress this film. Despite these challenges, I am committed to ensuring Stan's true story is told. With your support, we can overcome these obstacles and honor his legacy. I think for the folks that are saying this is a cash grab, I think the sheer fact that I believe this alone is going to suck up most of the money.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a cash grab. I kind of feel, call me a doomsayer, but I kind of feel like it'll be lucky if this thing sees the light of day, even if they hit their goal.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's true. And then, even if they hit their goal, like what's their estimate ETA? I mean, has he spent the last 3, 4, 5 years putting all this footage actually together, or is this stuff that we're still like, oh, we're paying to make it, so now we have to wait for 3, 4 years to get whatever this is, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like he's sincere enough. I mean, it sounds like he's sincere enough. I mean, I didn't even think about the threats on his life thing. I mean, if we're talking about big players in this game, then yeah, I could definitely see some issues there for him.
Yeah, there's really no way to know the full scope of the story. I'm gonna have to kind of stay close to this one. I think this just launched recently.
Yeah, I think it launched like a day or two ago, did it not?
It had to have. Take a quick peek at the rewards here. This is kind of where it gets interesting. And it also gives me a little bit of hope that this is on the this is all on the up and up. So they have this I don't know how many pages this is. They have like a photo collage book that he had taken these pictures with his time with Stan, and a bunch of YouTube personalities and also comic shops, whatnot, guys have signed up to do their own variant cover.
Yeah.
So like Comic Tom's on here. He's big on social media, YouTube, all that good stuff. Mutant City. I know Mutant City. I don't know if I've actually met them in person. I'm friends with them though. But Clan McDonald, those are the guys I do the live sales with all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try reaching out to them and see if they've got any kind of inside info. If I was a good host, I would have reached out before this show, but
It's all right. It's hot on the docket. It's hot on the docket. We have to talk about it now.
yeah.
Next week it might dwindle in interest. It might get more. It might gain more interest. We'll see. Maybe we'll get some more, clips from this guy about this. And I mean, my personal thought is he played this right, and he wanted to get this as high as he could get this. This is that he would, do small leaks of like, here or like talk about it on like a YouTube or something like that.
Right.
So I mean, we'll see. Maybe we'll, like I said, maybe we'll get some more context next week. I funny enough, I found out about this. Ryan Benjamin shared it.
Really?
Yeah. So that's what I was like. He just shared the link, and I was like, "The heck is this?" I clicked on it. I thought it was a Kickstarter for Ryan. No, it ended up being this. I'm like, that's interesting.
Huh. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to see Stan's side of the story. And I feel for the guy because the little bit of that. I encourage you guys to check out this interview as well with John. It really sounded like Stan was kind of in a financial issue, and he was trying to make some money available for his daughter. His last several years, get some I don't know if you want to call it liquid capital or what you want to call it, but just some funds in her pocket so she could have a little bit more freedom to run around. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be eye-opening. I would be curious to see it either way, even if they don't hit the 300,000 to get all of the extra footage, the reenactments and stuff.
Yeah.
Even if he slashed that goal down and just released, the interviews and the, what have you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Stuff gets expensive, man. Because if he's talking about taking a crew to, I don't know if he is or not, but it seems like he's talking about like doing Comic-Con appearances and stuff. Some of that stuff gets comped. There's a lot of hidden costs that do not get comped.
Yeah.
And as the leader of it, if he's bringing a crew out there, there's going to be expectations for like per diems, hotel arrangements,
food, yada yada. Yep.
I mean, how much it costs you to do a convention.
Yeah, when I'm eating ham and cheese sandwiches, I'm not doing so hot.
Yeah. That's some shows I'll go out to eat. Other shows I go to Walmart and I get a like a 10-pack of Hot Pockets.
Yep.
That's how we roll.
It's a glorious life we live.
That's the truth of it. There are some interesting reward tiers on this. For they have the exclusive screenings, that sort of thing. Which it seems like this is going to be an all or nothing kind of deal. They got to hit that 300,000, but
yeah.
You can get the screenings, and then they have tiers for original art. Let's see. This one's interesting. Original art from a comic creator, $400. It doesn't say who the artists are, though.
Yeah, you would do yourself some justice by listing at least a couple of the creators, and then saying, and there will be more. You know what I mean? No. So that's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. That's I saw that too, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like,
yeah,
who's drawing it? Is he gonna draw it and just call himself? I'm just kidding.
I'll tell you what. I mean, he did create comics for a short period of time.
Oh, did he? Oh, wow. Huh.
Yeah, that was if you click on his creator info, I think it was from like 2012 or something like that. He has a couple years of comic credits. I didn't look into it to see what he did, but yeah, I think it would behoove him to get some clarity on this. And then there are some really impressive artists that he's got on here, like original art from Ghost Rider Page, Bruce Timm. I can't pronounce Bill's last name. I apologize, Bill Cinco. maybe.
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
There's like Kevin Eastman Wolverine original.
Yep.
And then these are the kind of tiers we need to start integrating. It's like the guy that randomly will just drop $10,000 on a Kickstarter because he likes you.
Yeah.
I need that $10,000 tier, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I thought about doing. I mean, not $10,000, but I thought about doing something like that. Like it'd be like a whole thing. Like it'd be a whole production. Like, you'd meet the creator. You get to chat with me. We get to hang out or whatever. And all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But
I mean, some people are into that.
yeah.
There was a video game. I forget what it was. It was a long time ago. They were trying to get backed on Kickstarter, and there was like a $7,500 tier where they would fly you out to their studio, take you out to dinner, go to Morton's. But for $7,500, you can do a lot of damage at Morton's.
Yeah. We sort of did that on the Crimson Titan Kickstarter. I mean, obviously we didn't get anybody that chose that tier, but it was something like that. Like we would fly you out, or we would fly out to meet you or something like that. It was something.
No.
Yeah. It was very. I mean, it was an interesting idea. I see nobody was like, "Yeah, let's do that. That sounds great." But
I mean, some people are into it. I missed the joke, but smoked Gouda is a fantastic cheese. Yep.
Nice.
Oh man. But yeah, some of the artwork's already been snatched up. Chiefly among them,
yeah,
$7,000 layouts.
Oh, I saw that. I was like, that was still live when I looked at it last. So that's crazy.
I mean, his stuff is rocketing up.
Yeah.
I think the fact that no one's trying to cancel him for working at Marvel again, doing all this Spider-Man stuff and all his covers he's doing now, his stuff's just going through the roof.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, the Todd father had a comment about Jay Scott recently that kind of went viral.
Oh no, I had not heard that.
I think it might have been at MegaCon in an interview. It might have been. I could be completely wrong on that. But they had asked about. I guess Jay Scott had kind of changed She-Spawn's costume quite a bit for one of the covers, and Todd loved it so much he ran with it.
Oh.
Probably butchering the story, but Todd then went on to say that Jay Scott is the preeminent cover artist in comics.
Wow,
like
that's high freaking praise.
If you want a killer cover, Jay Scott's your guy.
Yeah.
Which might explain why the pencil sketch for that She-Hulk I was talking about at MegaCon was going for like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Pencil sketch.
I want to be that guy someday.
I don't know, man. More money, more problems.
That's true. Yeah, as we're seeing with poor Stan here.
Yeah. Well, I looked into speaking of Jay Scott, I was looking at some of his prelims on his website. None of them I'm crazy about, but I was curious about one.
Mm-hmm.
For a little napkin sketch. It was $500, which actually isn't that bad.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not.
So
it's not terrible.
Nope. But yeah, that's and the thing, the amount of time and effort I put into something, I charge $600, and people are like, "Oh, that's pretty steep."
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I just finished one. This is what I did last night. This is old Doomslayer.
Nice.
Show that to the camera there.
That looks sick, dude.
Thank you.
I'm slacking over here.
It's I'll take that to a show and I'll have it for $650, and people will be like, "Oh man, oh God, $650." So one day.
Right.
One day.
Yeah, I finally got my colors back on my Magneto.
Dude.
Of course, it's dark in here. But
yeah. That looks good. Did you print that, or did you have a company?
I printed that myself.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't like the gloss. I don't like the gloss, but that was what I had. So I was like, so I'm waiting for my other stuff to come in. But
yeah, the what I find is people at shows tend to like a glossier look.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's just shiny. We like
Yeah,
people like shiny stuff. That's it.
that's true.
Until they see a satin next to it. Satin's the way to go.
Yeah, yeah. I was doing luster. I like the way the luster works, but it doesn't really do much for some of my pieces, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
We are gonna take a quick look at the topic of this evening is the 10 art myths that need to die by Sam Does Art. I'm gonna share this again real quick.
Murder the myth.
In the chat, if there's any art myths that come to mind that you think are bogus, if you want to share those.
Yeah, let's hear them.
10 art myths that need to die. I kind of clicked through this. Again, I didn't watch the whole thing, and we're not going to watch the whole thing tonight. It's like, I think it's like 25 minutes or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it in segments. So
yeah. The one that I struggle with, and you've probably been told this too, is like, you're so talented, you're lucky, it's a gift.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
So I get where it comes from. It comes from a place of like, I can't do this. This is you're amazing that you can do this. But there's the piece of that feels like it's robbing you from the hard work that's taking you to get there. I've even gotten that comment from other artists before. They're like, you're just naturally talented at rendering or whatever. And I'm like, no, I mean, I appreciate that you think that, but in the same exact vein, like, no, I worked my butt off, dude. I studied Jim Lee. I studied Dave Finch. I studied Philip Tan. All these guys I studied to kind of hone in how I want to render stuff, and I'm still working on that, right? Like, so, yes, it when you're telling somebody that they're talented, it is a compliment, but not in the way that it, you think it, not in the way you think it is. But yeah, I think if we stay away from you're naturally talented to like, wow, it looks like you've spent a lot of time on working on your skills. You've come so far. Like, you know what I mean? Those are the types, that's a way to differentiate that. But I guess to most people, like, they don't understand that, right? They just like, oh, you're talented. You're more talented than me because you've done something that I can't do.
Yeah. I think what it boils down to for me, I think the talent per se is just the unwillingness to give up.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, once they reach a certain amount of resistance or they reach a hurdle that's just tall enough, it's like, well, I tried.
Yeah.
Guess I suck at this.
Yeah. Right. I'm not talented enough to do this.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of developed it's not really a saying or an expression, but sort of a mindset, is that I might not ever be the greatest at anything that I do, but I can be great.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a lot of amazing artists out there. There's a lot of amazing people out there that aren't the best at what they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the talent, like you said, it's meant to be a compliment. I think for a lot of people it's a write-off, so they don't have to try. Like, you were given this thing that I will never be able to attain. It's like, well, that mentality.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I always get the, I can't even draw stick figures. And I'm like, well, I mean, I started there, so
well, that's
where I started.
That's the first time I actually remember like trying to get better at art. I'm going to show you a quick rendition. I remember as a kid, like, I had two older brothers and they'd always be on the Nintendo first. Like they had dibs. So I'd sit there and I'd draw like Ninja Turtles, right?
Yeah.
So you do the classic, you do one of these guys. Oh, this is a mistake trying to do this. Right? Just a little stick figure kind of guy.
Yeah.
I started to realize, man, these turtles, they got muscles. So I started adding like a nose to them. And then like their muscles, I'm not going to draw the whole thing, but I draw like these little circles for the muscles, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I thought I was just light years ahead of everybody.
Yeah, yeah, I remember
"Yeah,
that.
these Jack turtles, man, they're gonna rip people up."
I did the same thing with Dragon Ball Z. You know, I would draw these big, like bulby, like biceps, and be like, and it's just, I'm like, that looks amazing. Wow, he's so muscular. And then, you know, and then as you develop, you're like, okay, well, it doesn't really look like that. Okay, it looks like
Yeah.
this. There's more to it there. And
Yeah,
then you kinda
those
delve
things
further.
actually connect to other things, and
Right,
yeah.
right. Mm-hmm.
Well, bear with me. I'm gonna get this video started up here. We're gonna kind of
What's thermodynamics?
Holy smokes, that was loud.
That was loud.
Let's see.
Ad. Someday you're gonna block so many ads, they're not gonna know what to serve you.
Dude, that's happened to me. When I first learned this feature, I blocked some. We have to watch this ad. It won't let me block it. I had blocked so many that they started giving me all my commercials in Spanish,
Oh my god, that's funny.
and I couldn't skip them because I
That
hadn't
is
seen them
funny.
yet. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna play devil's advocate on these here tonight too. 'Cause
Okay.
why not?
These are going to be some very common misconceptions that
Let's
even
see.
I myself, and it can be very misleading.
I
Be
will-
smart about setting goals.
Be
and
nice if you
targets.
broke it
Now,
up
just
into
as an
segments.
example, let's say you're somebody
Yeah.
who wants to get better at drawing characters. You want to make them
Yeah.
more expressive, more believable. With a goal like that in mind, instead of just practicing a bunch of random character drawings and expecting yourself to get better, a smart artist would start working backwards from that goal and find specific things.
So set your goal where you want to be, and then work backwards from there, instead of just being amazingly great at drawing to begin with. I think you're born with it. And setting goals is for losers. I think like, look at Michael Jackson. Could sing as a kid. He could dance.
He could, yeah.
He was amazing. I could sing and dance all I want to, and people were mostly annoyed.
I mean, I think there's a difference between being, having a gift and being talented. I think there's a difference.
What's the difference?
To me, the difference is having a gift and using it versus talent is something you like, oh, you just have it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's a gift then. Gift sounds like something you have.
Well, all right. I mean,
But someone gave it to you because it's a gift. Who gave it to you?
Yeah. You gifted at birth, right? So your parents gifted it to you.
Mm.
But I guess it's difficult
So if
to
you don't have a
explain.
gift, that means your parents didn't love you. Is that what you're saying?
No.
You're saying that if you can't draw, or if you can't dance, all you're good at is turning a wrench, and you're not even that good at that. Your parents just did not love you. Did not gift you with anything.
That's right. That's right. I will admit, I feel like there are, unfortunately, some people in the world that are not meant to do certain things. I don't know if what you would call that versus, talented or gifted. But yeah, there are some people who are just not meant to do certain things like that. I've seen people that are not meant to do art, and I don't know if it's not that they're not good at it. I don't think it's that. Maybe it's just not the thought of going beyond where they're already at maybe is difficult for them or whatever. But yeah, I don't think there are some people that are just like not there. They don't have what they think that they have.
No.
Tell them they're skilled. I know that sounds super mean, but I feel like some people actually need to be told that.
Yeah.
I hate to be, and I'm not going to be that guy, of course, but I'm not going to start calling people out like, you're not good at art. You've been doing this for 12 years. Your art is awful. I would never do that to someone. But I do feel like somebody needs to have that friend, that conversation with their friend, being like, man, maybe you try something else. It's nice that you enjoy what you're doing. That's cool.
Someone was telling me they went to the Kubert school, and one of the artists there was like the go-to artist that they would bring students to be like torn apart. Like, show them your pages, get some feedback, and every time he would just rip you apart. Who was telling me that story? I don't recall, but the big issue that you know what? I'll keep the name out of it, but he had done a lot of work for Turtles. The thing that he got tore up on by this artist was the filing cabinets. You guys like, you don't have any filing cabinets in your school? You've never seen a filing cabinet before? Like, why do your filing cabinets look like trash in the background? And he's like, you don't have anything to say about the characters or anything else in the scene. It's just the filing cabinets. But if you're going to be drawing professionally for one of the big dogs, like, there are people that will nitpick that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave says, I think some people have an ability to grasp onto it faster than others, but with most things, it takes a bunch of practice. Absolutely. I would agree.
Yeah.
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I don't know what you would label that, but I definitely agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I also think the way the information is presented to you matters as well. Like the way that you teach yourself to do things matters too. So many of us learn in different ways that art is a very interesting skill because there's more than one way to do art, right? You can do 3D art, you can do digital art, you can do traditional pencil paper art, and there are other things you can do, like the way that you format words, like that's art. So I think the way that you teach yourself will help you evolve your skills better and faster, depending on how you learn them.
Yeah.
Some people don't know how to teach themselves things.
Right. Absolutely. And leave Rob alone. When I was young, I really liked Rob just because I could tell that like he was really excited about drawing whatever character he was drawing.
Yeah.
And I knew it was exaggerated. I knew it was over the top. I knew it didn't necessarily make sense. But especially his work on like Cable, I felt, especially like Cable's guns. His guns were like these Rubik's cubes of pieces and parts.
Yeah.
Freaking loved them. Yeah, let's see what he has to say.
That they need to learn. For example, facial anatomy, body anatomy, expressions, poses, shape language. And now all of a sudden you've got 5 topics that you can work on over the next year that's going to directly contribute to your goal of becoming a
I don't think this is actual myth, is it?
Don't just
calling this a myth.
I think the myth was that you're just naturally good, or you just need to practice a lot.
Gotcha.
One of those two.
That part I didn't understand.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if you had bookmarks on here.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I tend to do this with people a lot. I used to do this even professionally when I worked for the company. Is I would ask people, "What do you want to do?" And the first inference is like professionally, like, "What do you want to do professionally?" And I say, "No, how do you want to live your life? Like, what do you want to do? What does coming home from work look like for you? Did you even leave to go to work?" Like,
yeah.
I start that far out because most people don't look that far out.
Yeah.
And if you work backwards from there, you can start saying like, well, if I want to be able to do these things and achieve these things, then okay.
This is what I got to do. Yeah. Yep.
I think the one thing that gets overlooked though, is he's talking about being a character artist here. Talks about face anatomy, body anatomy, expression, pose, and shape language. Golly, no one likes to talk about learning perspective. Like,
yeah,
it's the least sexy part of drawing.
Yeah.
And you gotta know it.
Yeah. Yes, but yeah, learning perspective will definitely take you from level A to level F or G real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing when people tell me that they want to get better as artists. I ask them, well, what do you know you need to work on? Don't like hand me your portfolio and let me guess what I think you should work on. You already know a bunch of stuff you need to work on, and you probably have just chosen not to do it because it's not fun or exciting.
Yeah. I know for a fact I got to do more background work. I don't do enough background stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a weak part for me.
It's not the most fun, and it usually involves doing the perspective stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though. I started doing penciling for Slaughter Dolls, and the first 2 panels, you're probably not gonna be able to see any of this. All pencil work, but all those little lines in there, like I have all those perspective lines going.
Yep. Yeah, looks good.
I am so freaking happy. I'm just pretty much doing layouts right now. It's actually got me excited about drawing backgrounds.
Nice. That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, that's the one thing with backgrounds is like you got to tell the story, right? Like it's not just some imagery to slap on a page. It's got to be the story of why to be in this room. What is this room? what
Yeah.
what has happened in this room? Is there anything happening in this room?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Should there be papers on the wall? Should there be posters on the wall? Should there, there's all those types of questions that you have to like ask yourself while you're creating that background. And it's like that's one of those things like I got to work on.
Really
Michael here,
grounds him. Yeah.
he is fantastic at that. He is fantastic at telling a story in what he's creating. It's great. Like his stuff's good.
There you go.
Talented in coding, but all that means is that they're just naturally able to pick up that subject easier and absorb it faster. So while it is a factor, it in no way, shape, or form guarantees success.
So I think this kind of reflects back on not only what Dave was saying, but also what you were saying. Like talent tends to be just how quickly you can pick stuff up. I think I'm leaning back to what you were saying is that your parents give it to you at birth, and if they don't, then they don't love you.
Yes,
I'm sticking with that.
All right,
Sounds
sounds good.
out of 10, somebody who works hard, works smart, and is consistent
Catch you later,
is
Dave.
going to surpass
See you,
somebody
Dave.
who has natural talent but no work ethic. Myth number 3 is something
I think those last 2 words mean more than most of what we talked about. That work ethic.
Yeah. Yep.
It is hard to roll up your sleeves, grab your coffee, and sit down and draw,
Yep.
especially early.
Yeah. Yeah. And some days it's tougher than others too. Like, you got life things going on, you got things going on, you got mental blocks that happen. You're just whether you're not excited about it or whether you're you're struggling with something you're doing or you're doing something you're not excited to work on either. That I've had that.
No.
I've had those moments where it's like I got to do it anyways, but I'm not excited to do it.
Yep. Yep. And that is the
thing that
truth.
I believed in for the longest time, and that is art is easy for the people who are really good at it. No, it's not.
And it's not easy.
No.
Sometimes things are easy. Some things are easier than others, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Like Dave said, people grasp on things at different rates, right? And that kind of comes down to like the thing I wanted to mention is what's that saying? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like the way that I learn is not going to be the way that you learn, or the way that Michael learns, or the way that Dave learns. Like we will progress all at our own levels, and we kind of have to deal with that. Like that's just what we have to deal with that.
No. Yeah, I forgot I'm supposed to be playing devil's advocate. So
Doing an awful job. No,
Believed in for the longest time, and that
What-
is art is easy for the people.
Of course, it's easier if you're good.
yeah,
Right?
of course.
Let's compare it to something else. If you're good at playing guitar, it's gonna be a lot easier than if you're not good at playing guitar.
Yeah, but how do you get good at playing guitar? You have to learn how to play it.
It's that work
Doesn't make
ethic.
Yeah,
Work
right.
ethic, or your parents gave it to you, according to you.
Oh,
said it.
yes. Yes, your
So-
parents can give you the ability to play guitar. Your parents, now you can have a natural affinity to know music. I will say that. Like you can have a natural affinity to create things artistically. I don't think it's a talent or a gift. I think it's just
I
a
just think that
natural
means
affinity.
it just means you're good at it.
No,
Would you say if you had a natural affinity, would you say you're
No,
good
because
at it?
look, no, because sometimes
would you say you're better than someone else?
just because you're good at it doesn't mean it's good.
Oh, it's easier.
Yes, it's easier, but it doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's good.
But if you are good and it is easier, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like if you're good, it'll be a lot easier than if you're not good. I think this is a dumb myth. Can I leave a comment for Sam Does Art? Oh,
These are awful
yo,
myths.
what's up, Chris?
What
What's good,
up?
man? We are debunking myths here.
Yeah.
Work ethic is one of those things that they used to talk about back in the day, and now
No one's got it. No one's got it anymore.
well, I mean, the problem is it's really hard to work when you're holding your phone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
I have to
Like,
put my phone down, or else, yeah, I get right on it.
It's terrible.
Procrastinate like a mofo.
the worst.
Yeah.
What else do you
So
got
when
to
you
say
see
here?
that 20-second process video of a beautiful piece from start to finish,
It's
and you
'cause they're
think,
good.
man, I wish I could make it look that easy. Just remember, you're not seeing all the drafts that didn't work out.
'Cause
You're
you're
not
not good.
seeing all the paintings that didn't get posted. You're not seeing the
That's
days when that
I will
piece
say
is
I do
just
have a
artwork
stack
and
of
can't make any.
drawings down
You're
here that
not
will never see the
seeing
light
any
of
of those
day.
bad days. All
Yeah.
that is to say, it's
'Cause I was not
easy.
as
It never
good at
gets
those.
easy. So when you're feeling like you're struggling, when you're feeling like your art is just not good enough,
I don't need a
when you look up
motivational
to all the
speech.
time, it's feeling.
Oh, he's saying that like Leonardo da Vinci had a hard time sometimes.
The exact same thing. Kind of nice in a way, you know.
But he was really good.
People just
Wait. I think this is the
Number
part.
4 is
What's that?
Oh, there's a part where he makes a funny comment. I don't know if we're at that part or not yet. We'll keep watching.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to be moving pianos when you're playing with your phone. Unless you're really good at moving pianos.
Wait a minute. He said was a piano mover. Is he okay?
No, was. Let's see. Art is just a hobby. That's the most obvious thing ever. Let's say tomorrow the nukes go off. No one wants me to draw a picture of Spider-Man for them. They're like, Steve, you're on my team for the zombie apocalypse. And now suddenly I gotta like hunt deer and watch the perimeter. No one's asking for a drawing.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. It's true.
So technically, it's a very, lucrative, fortunate hobby that I have for now.
Yeah.
For now.
But you know what? After the bombs drop, we're gonna need to start doing cave paintings again. So they'll need us.
We need to document how many gazelle we
Right.
hit with
Exactly.
our spears. Let's see. Well, what if it's a telema? Oh man, that's the hardest spot because like your job is on the phone, and if you're really good at being on the phone,
Yeah.
being really good would mean you could be on potentially 2 phones, right? 3 phones even.
We only have 2 hands. That might be tough. I mean, you go hands free, I guess.
Yeah. I think this is a silly myth. It's just a hobby. Obviously, it's not just a hobby.
Yeah.
Hobby.
No, and there's so much there's so many things in entertainment, between entertainment and anything else. Really, there's art is really everywhere, and unfortunately, so many of us believe this myth growing up because that's what we're told, and we stop pursuing the idea of art because we were told there's no career there.
I was always told to have plan B.
Yeah.
Because not many artists make it. And when I didn't make it right out the rip, and I saw how much money I was getting paid to be published in a couple books, I was like, well, this sucks. You could have Ben's gift, though. What if I have a natural affinity for making inappropriate? Ben, that is quite handily the single greatest quality. Outside of being a genuinely nice guy, awesome to hang out with, all the other guys. That's all important. But your inappropriate humor is, bar none, some of the best I've seen out there.
Nice.
Being a good guy is also good, but that's part of being good, right? If you're good, it's easier. Anyways,
you'll lose your passion for art. I completely understand where you're coming from, and I support you. You shouldn't let anybody else try to tell you to turn this into a money-making machine. At the end of the day, if this is a hobby for you, this is a passion for you, it's
moving on.
And that is if you.
Yeah, we just kind of touched on this. You're gonna be broke if you're an artist.
I'll be a devil advocate in this. That's probably true.
It's probably true for a lot of people.
It's probably true for a lot of people. It's not really a myth. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it really depends on what you're willing to do and how far you're willing to go and how much you're willing to market yourself. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. Especially if you're just starting off, it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of potential, but yeah.
I think if we were doing cave drawings with the Hulk on there, it would definitely scare off a lot of other people that chanced upon that cave. It'd be like, I got a giant green monster here.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you imagine stumbling upon a cave drawing of this giant monster thousands of years later? Like, wow, what was this giant green guy? Man, they had to fight this thing off. They had this team of Avengers. That's crazy. We don't have that technology.
They have this self-adjusting purple pants. Wild. Absolutely wild. I think the art business, I think the biggest problem is if you're trying to do it on your own, you don't necessarily have a boss unless you have an agent that's getting you work.
Yeah.
And I think in the conventions that I do, I end up talking with a lot of people, and I can tell that there's a lot of folks that, in a way, they want a manager. In a way, they want someone that they can go to share their successes, share their grievances, and then also like, what do I do to fix this?
Yeah.
And that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you can't go to the convention runner and be like, I'm in a prime time spot, but my sales are down. What do I do?
Yeah.
They don't
Yep.
care.
Right.
Same thing. Like when I first started, I got 2 books that I was published in. One I did like 30 drawings for, and I barely made any money at all on it.
Oh wow.
And then I was like, what the hell do I do
Yeah.
from here? And so yeah, I did go broke. I got down to the point where I was actually donating plasma to make ends meet. So yes, number 5 is not a myth. It is absolutely true. You will be broke.
Yep. Yep.
Or 2 some OnlyFans are. There you go.
Yes, I think the myth part of this is it's not necessarily true, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's ways to make money.
They don't call us starving artists for nothing.
Yeah. I've got 2 of my brothers are in the what you call it, like the consultation world. And they see like what I do through their lens of like, well, if there's other people trying to do what you do, how can you turn that into a consultation business? Like you can go to their booths and like give them advice and feedback and start a Patreon and all this. I'm like, buddy, there are people that are there. They're paying $300 for their 6-foot artist alley table that cannot afford that $300 artist alley table, let alone paying somebody to professionally give them advice on how to fix it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, I get so many that now that people are like, oh, you can pay me $70 and I'll get you 1,000 signups for your Kickstarter. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing this to make a couple bucks and like, give people some cool art because it sounds like fun, but like, I don't have that kind of cash to even spend. Like my goal is $300. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. Exactly. And I am drinking the Dunkel tonight, Chris. Thank you for that. That's actually really good. I like that.
Dunkel.
The Dunkel. It's that Munich style Dunkel from Blue Stallion. That's very good.
Interesting.
Very good. Probably should be drinking it tonight, but here we are.
Not funny.
You could start up your own nude. Instead of having a nude model, you could be the nude artist drawing. There you
Dude,
go.
I think somebody did that years ago. I swear to God, that was a thing. Like, yeah, he would like paint naked in New York City Center Square or something like.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think I saw that somewhere. It was many years ago. Probably doesn't do it anymore. He probably like got slapped with a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. But
of course, it's always the legalities.
Yep.
So let's talk business for a second here. I may not be the best guy to talk to about business because I was just looking at my numbers for taxes, and I'm like, okay, we did grow year over year, but not quite as much as I had hoped.
Yeah.
This is the I think this is where you do need to look at things from a goal perspective. Is how do you want to live your life? How much work do you have to do to make that happen, whether it's conventions, commissions, or whatever, and work backwards from that. And early on, I was doing the math. I was originally giving away commissions for like $60 for like big finished piece, right? And I'm like, I would have to draw in a weekend over a dozen of these things, practically giving them away.
Yeah.
In order for me to hit my financial goal for the weekend with my prints and everything else that I'm doing. And it got to the point where I'm like, well, something has to give because I'm going to kill myself, not literally harm myself. I'm going to burn myself out drawing all these pictures at shows and then having to go back home and do commissions through the week.
Yeah.
So I think this is where people need to sit down and think about how they want to live their life, what they want it to look like, how much money you need to do that, and then work backwards from there. How many shows, how many commissions, and maybe that means you need to put more Facebook ads out, not like literal paid ads, but like, posts saying, I will draw stuff. Here's my pricing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Thoughts on that?
No. Yeah. I that's really what it comes down to. I mean, setting yourself a goal and making it obtainable to a point where it's like, I can make that happen in some way. I mean, I will admit, right? Like if I stopped my full-time job, which pays me well enough that I can sustain my family, I probably could clear about 30K, 40K, which, you know, to most people, if you're living on your own, you got an apartment or whatever, that's not awful. Like you can make that do. But that's for me, I couldn't. I mean, and I'm sure there's potential to grow there, right? I mean, that's just where I'm
Yeah.
at now. Like if it was my full-time job, I'd be able to, I'd spend, you know, 3 hours a day advertising, 3 hour, you know, an hour a day sending out emails to comic publishers or comic stores and stuff like that. So like, and that's just as a comic artist, right? Like there's so many other ways to make money,
Yeah.
which use doing art, and it's really what you're comfortable with, what you do or do not want to do. Because if at the end of the day, you put yourself into a position where like, oh well, I want to make $80,000 a year, but you know, 40,000 of that I'm miserable. You know, half the time you're gonna give up. So yeah.
You could always do what Ben's suggesting here. He says that Mr. T used to make jokes. He was a reverse stripper. The more they paid him, the more gold chains and such he would put on.
That's funny.
Cover up. I like it. I like it. Yeah. I don't know. I early on, I was equating everything to like how many prints I would have to sell to pay for a tank of gas, pay for a meal. And after a while, I get more confident with what you're doing. But yeah. Let's jump to the next one. References make you a fake artist. I think so. You should be able to draw anything you want straight from your head. If you can't, you're a fake artist.
That's such baloney.
Get good.
Yeah, get good, son.
Yeah.
No, dude. You definitely references. I think references can make or break a piece sometimes. If you're using a reference, and I've had this happen to me before. Like I've drawn something, and then I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. And then I looked at a reference and like, all right, well, let me fix that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes what's up here isn't necessarily what we put on the paper, isn't necessarily how we want it to look either, right? Because our brain, as we're absorbing information, our brain is encrypting that information. So now we have to unencrypt it and turn it into something we can create.
Yep.
So
you gotta remember and recall it.
Right. So not everybody has the pictographic memory that they can just do that. So there's a lot of processes involved in that. So the references help you get from point A to point Z when you're drawing, you know?
Yeah, this is where I am gonna counterpoint here because I feel like this is it can be the argument that a lot of folks in the AI camp tend to make as far as like recalling images from your head to draw, is that I tend, when I'm drawing from scratch, I'm not like recalling an image I've seen and trying to make it. I am using the construction method, right?
Right.
Starting with circle for the head and a spine and just building off of it. Jim Lee made a comment on one of his live streams. He said that you can get references and references are good, but if you're going to be in the comic world, you don't have time for references. You might have time, you know, once a page to, you know, if you're doing interiors, once a page to find like a picture of a car or whatever it is that you're doing. But if you're trying to get a reference for every shot that you're doing, you're never going to get done. So I don't think references make you a fake artist. I think references can make you better, and it can also potentially be a hindrance and make you slower.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah. This is the part where he makes that joke, by the way. It's like, he says, the people in the Renaissance were so serious about their references that they used to cut up dead bodies to make sure they got it right.
Yep. Literally cut them up, man.
Yeah, that's right. I was like,
what those things look
funny.
Like. Let's see here. Let's jump through a couple more here. Let's see. Number 7, you need expensive tools.
Yeah, dissect them. Myth number 7 is you need professional, expensive.
Here for a minute while I take a drink.
An artist.
Go for it.
You don't. Now, I do a lot of drawing on this crazy tablet, but believe it or not, one of my favorite ways to draw is with pencil on paper.
Can't believe it. Can't believe he likes pencil and paper. It's absurd.
Oh yeah, it's absurd to like something.
Yeah. Yeah. You got any thoughts on this one?
No. I'm kind of right there with it. It's like, yeah. I mean, I mean, we've seen so many. The problem is people get tricked into thinking they need all this crazy fancy technology because they see all their favorite influencers who create. They have these giant digital tablets and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think there's a piece of that makes things a little bit easier for you.
Yeah.
But if you don't know how to draw on pencil and paper before you transition to digital, it's not going to help you in any way.
No.
Just to be, oh, I'm going to go into digital. It's going to help me. No, you still need to learn those foundational basics. You still need to know what to do, how to draw gestures and stuff. And you can do that if you have the $1,000 stuff, but you can also do that if you have the $2 paper notebook you have, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I bought a one of the iPads when they first came out because Procreate, they were showing how you could have the perspective grids where the lines will snap to the perspective grid. And I'm like, that's going to be amazing. I'm going to buy that and make my own comics. And I bought it and realized very quickly I do not enjoy drawing on an iPad. And I couldn't think of a workflow to make the panels and character drawings work together well, where I could like scan it in or whatever. This would have been back in like 2015-ish. And I didn't touch that iPad for years to draw.
Yikes.
I used it for all kinds of other stuff, games and movies and stuff. But
by the time you wanted to draw on it again, it was obsolete. You can't do anything out of it now.
I really stretched it out for. I think I used it for the I used it for a lot of my prints, like doing the digital coloring. And then once I got to the point where I was going to do the first Slaughter dolls, I'm like, this thing doesn't have enough RAM to do more than like 20 layers.
Yeah.
And I'm using like twice that on some of these, just depending on how intense it can be.
Right.
So yeah, I think expensive stuff can make you better in a way.
That's
I can't believe he has that many paintings of cats behind him.
He likes cats.
And as far as Etch-a-Sketch, I feel like I've seen some truly amazing stuff on Etch-a-Sketch, but me personally, never could get into it.
Dude, I used to love drawing in the Etch-a-Sketch. That was fun. It was fun until you shook the damn thing on accident.
Or you make the one line that goes the wrong way because you're trying to remember counterclockwise, clockwise.
Oh yeah. I got to a point where I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I was creating some pretty interesting, like decent things. But yeah, no, it's just so time consuming. You're like, God, this is taking forever to draw something I could have drawn already.
As you're reminiscing, are you feeling like maybe you missed your calling? Like maybe you need to get back in Etch-a-Sketch?
No, definitely
Dude, if you imagine this though, you walk into a booth like a convention, you got tons of people have original art, traditional art, digital art. You see one badass dude with a booth full of Etch-a-Sketches that have somehow been permanently actually no. It's even better if it can be messed up because now it's worth even more. It's not just your money, it's your personal time and attention and care to make sure this Etch-a-Sketch does not get shook.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that, right? Good luck with that, dude. Yeah, but the problem with that is you can cheat. You can cheat with Etch-a-Sketch.
Can you?
Yeah. It's just all that is a little magnet that that's all it is. You can get like a pen that's magnetized and like
you've looked into this.
No. I just know how it works.
You just know it. You just know it.
I just know how it works, so I understand the concept behind it. Yeah. I watched somebody take one apart once, and I'm like, dude, really? All this time it could have been legit drawing on this thing.
Well,
it was fun.
I think maybe this is your calling.
I literally just use a basic round brush. That's all you need. Myth number 8 is
Mike. How do you feel about the Etch-a-Sketch? Please let us know in the chat.
Yeah. Where do you stand? Let's go.
You need a formal education.
This is always one of those things you talk about when you're talking about getting into art.
Mm-hmm.
It's no. No, you don't. Obviously, it's a no. You don't need. Actually, to be honest, there's very, very few things that you need a degree for to pursue that career. Mm-hmm. I would say medicine's definitely one of them. Mostly for legal reasons, but also for the everything else that goes with that. But I'm sure there's a couple other like architecture and things that are very specific. But like, yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, you could teach yourself any of this stuff. Do I think that a formal education makes a difference? Um, y- in some instances, yeah, yeah. Like I mean, I would love to go to the Kubert Art School. I know some people that have come out of that school 70 times better than they were when they went in. So, um, I definitely think it's a way to level up. If you need that, I don't think, but I don't. You're not going to need English. You're not going to need science to do art. Like you need some art skills. That's all you're looking for. But you can go on YouTube and buy those.
Yeah, most people are born with it because they were already good at it. So
Right. They were. I mean, yeah.
like, why
they were
would you get a
talented.
formal education if you're already good? Seems silly. This is a
Yeah.
waste of a myth. Number 8. We're gonna redact number 8 from the video. I need to edit that one out. It's a waste of. I feel like this guy's just trying to fill 10 minutes worth of time. He doesn't get to 10 minutes.
He does not get 10 minutes.
No.
Oh, that's a YouTube no. You got to get 10 minutes.
Yeah, if you're gonna add in all these
Right.
superfluous myths, yeah.
I mean, he's got 1.69 million subscribers, so he's got to be doing
Means
something
nothing.
right.
Means nothing.
Means nothing.
Number 9, you have to be crazy. I would say yes.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I think that's probably the most true.
That is not a myth. You have to be crazy. I guess you don't have to be bonkers, but
I think you are going to find more socially maladjusted individuals at a Comic-Con than you will in most workforces.
What do you mean by that?
So when it comes to art and being at a convention, you are naturally dealing with folks that view themselves highly enough that they are going to go set up a booth for people to buy stuff that they made.
Yes.
Which has a propensity
That's true, yeah.
to have a touch of narcissism attached to that.
That's true.
Some people would call it an ego. I have worked the previous company I was with 20 years, multiple departments, multiple locations. By and large, most of the people that I worked with, I would say, are not crazy. 1 or 2 at every location, yes, absolutely crazy. But I have met more people at these conventions that are artists that have a screw loose, and I could probably put myself in that bucket.
Yeah,
You
me
know?
too. Yeah, I've been called weird and odd many times.
Yeah. I feel like I'm missing the jokes. I'm not clicking on these enough.
They were born with good English. Yeah, I missed
Yeah.
that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Well-
you'll find me. I'm the guy that when it gets slow and boring, you're like, I'll start dancing. That's what I do. That's how I break up the monotony.
Yeah. Now he goes on to talk about in this, because I did see this part. He does talk about the how some artists were like depressed and had anxiety issues and like schizophrenia and all this stuff, or they were on drugs and that sort of thing. But it is not a prerequisite of being good.
Yeah.
To be also crazy, unless you were also gifted with that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Parents might have given you that.
Your parents would have hated you.
Yeah.
You could have some insanity.
Yup. Debatable. I don't know. I feel like at conventions, I think it is more ego issues than anything else.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? And it's funny you say that too, because like, yeah, you'll go to a show and you'll hear a lot of these guys talk about like, oh, how they should have, in some instances it's like, oh, I should have done better, or I mean, oh, this is a crap crowd, or blah blah blah. Pardon my French again. You know what I mean? And sometimes that is just like, it's just their ego. You're like, okay, okay, you did as well as you did, you know what I mean? In some instances it's the show, but in a lot of instances, a lot of these guys they're just talking game.
Right.
It's like, their ego's so big, but
yeah.
I try to stay as humble as possible when I'm at a show. But the ego creeps up sometimes. I will admit, the ego creeps. That is a thing.
Yeah. I think the one that irritates me the most tends to come from more of the pro artists that look down on some of the folks that are in like Artist Alley and that sort of thing. They call them like
Really?
the print guys. That's what they'll
Oh,
call. Yeah.
yeah. I
Um,
don't know what that's about.
I think for some of them, it's I'm the reason you're here, and
Mm,
what have you done to contribute? You're only taking.
yeah.
I know I was talking to a tattoo artist in one show that was bent out of shape because of artists that swipe stuff off of Google, or they're using AI now, and they're like, all you're doing is taking. You're not giving back to the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
You need to be making new art and making new influence. I think a lot of these guys just get bent out of shape because they see people show up with these big, displays and setups, and then they see people buy characters that, they signed a deal to go draw, and these guys are just showing up to a con selling them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think that's some of the. I'm sure it varies from person to person, but yeah, I know one very big name artist in particular that my buddy was next to, and he overheard. I won't say who it was. Overheard him totally trashing print artists at shows.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's
Yeah.
it's very interesting to me. Because from where I come from, right? The reason I am technically a print artist, not for much longer anyways, hopefully. But I'm a print artist. I originally did print art because I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. I liked doing it, and people seemed to enjoy me doing it. So I was like, okay, I'll show up at shows and see how it goes. And people bought my stuff, and people liked my artwork. And it was, I will admit, it was a bit of an ego boost for me to be like, okay, maybe I can do this thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I've been for the last couple of years. Is I've been in that space until I can get to the point where I have enough of what I've written, enough and also courage and all this other stuff to make my own thing, right? So it's like a buildup, and I kind of always thought that was the process nowadays. Is that you started creating fan art, you started getting better at creating things. You learn your anatomy, you learn all this other stuff. You see what it's like to be on the business end of things by going to shows and stuff like that. And you kind of it's almost, to me, it feels like being a print artist is almost like being an intern, really, for yourself, but
Yeah.
being an intern for whatever your end goal is.
Yep.
So it's kind of weird to just, I'm just hearing about this at one of the shows that you had pointed me to. I think it was you, where they were talking about that there's a lot of these industry pros, they won't hire print artists because of the negative stigma around it. And I'm like, what? That's weird to me. I would go around to the print, if I was a publisher, I'd walk around the floor and be like, that dude's art is great. That dude's art is great. Did he really draw that? Let's look at his originals and be like, I want you on my team. I want you on my team if I can afford it, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, to me, it's like you now have this entire gallery of portfolios. You know what I mean? That you can look at to get on your team or whatever. So it's weird to me.
The challenge you run into with a lot of, we'll just call them print guys, right? Which also includes me.
Yeah.
Is that many of them just want to draw covers. They don't want to draw interiors. And we've talked about before, Marvel, DC, even indie publishers at this point can pick the best of the best and message them on Instagram or call them up and get an awesome banger cover from somebody that's already in the industry.
Yeah.
I think I know for me, just speaking from my experience, having the print wall up there with a variety of stuff that I had, that's what got me my first 8 covers, was somebody that did exactly what you just said. Bigger, quote unquote, indie publisher. They've got a full operation. Comics Elite. I mean, you want to meet some of the hardest working guys and gals in the industry? It's Comics Elite. Those guys, I mean, they got a lot of military vets in there, and they have that mentality of like, we're here to do business. We're here to make money. We're going to be efficient about it. But that's exactly what happened. They walked up, they met me, they saw my stuff, and we had a handshake deal.
Nice.
So it can happen. Unfortunately, I feel like most people at shows, they just talk about doing business
Yeah.
and then they never get back to you.
Yeah, that happens. That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been that guy too.
It stings even worse when they're like, "Oh yeah, I really like your work," and you're like they tell you to message them, and then you message them, and then silence.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, okay, thanks for that, buddy.
Yep.
I mean, if you don't like my work, or there's something you want me to improve on, and you even make the effort of telling me to message you, and then whatever, at
Yeah.
least give me the courtesy of, and I'm sure they deal with that a lot, like, but at least give me the courtesy, like, hey, I don't have it working for you right now, or here's some, and if you want to go the extra mile, say, this is what I think you need to work on, for next time, send me your work again in a year or something. You know what I mean? Like, at least give me the audacity of that. Like, if I've talked to you and stuff, and I guess part of it might just be that people are too busy and they forget, but
it happens.
It happens. Yeah.
A lot happens in a weekend.
What's up,
Flower?
I don't ever take that negatively. It does sting a little bit.
Yeah.
to be like, complete like.
Yeah. I'm at the point with all the stuff I've got going on. Like, there's half the time I'm like, I hope this person doesn't actually reach out to me.
You're like, I'm too busy, man. I'm too busy. And
I've got a lot going on, and I can clear schedule to make certain things work, but
yeah,
I'm already at a point where this year I keep looking at my schedule. I'm like, is it time to start cutting stuff already?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of where I'm at.
I know I'm at that point where I'm like, I got the boring work to do. Well, it's not so boring, but I have a lot of writing I need to do to get what I want done, but I'm just holding off on doing it because I'm slacking.
A lot goes into that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, myth 10, I'm too old to start now. I say absolutely yes, you are too old. Should have started 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and now we're here. Too late.
Yep, it's too late. I got kids. I can't do it now. Can't do it. Darn.
The more years you've got, the more challenges you will have. I feel like I got exponentially better as an artist later in life than early in life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we might have talked about this before. I think at a certain point, you mature enough to a point where, like, what needs to be done now, versus when you're a kid, you're like, I just want to draw cool stuff, you know.
Yep, exactly. And then you also get situations like helping kids with late homework and that sort of thing. So it's like
all the time. Yeah.
Chasing down all the things you didn't know were going to be an issue. You know, car blows up.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff can happen.
I will admit it is exponentially harder to get into art when you're older and you have 20 million responsibilities.
Yep.
Like I decided to do after I had kids, not before I had kids. So
yeah,
I'm like, I had kids. Let me get a life now. No, it's okay. I gotta dial it back a little bit. Yeah.
Too late.
Yep.
That was. Are you familiar with Nate Bargatze?
No, I'm not. No.
Comedian. He talks about having kids. He's like, I love everything MTV's doing. They've got this thing called like 16 and Pregnant or something. And he's like, man, we used to look at these kids like, what are you doing? Your whole life's shot. And he's like, and I started doing the math. I'm like, if I would have had a kid when I was 16, that kid right now would be at college.
Yeah.
And he's like, now I'm thinking, he's like, I got 10 more years before this kid's off to college. I'm gonna be an old man. I'm not gonna want to do anything.
Yeah.
He's like, I should have knocked this out when I was like 12.
Yeah. I'll probably be I'll be close to 50 by the time my kid goes to college. So yeah, that's gonna suck. Be too old to want to do stuff.
Yeah, it happens. Just got done playing some 7 Days to Die. I had some buddies try to get me hooked on that back in the day, and then we played for like half an hour, and then something came up, and then we never played again.
That's funny. That's always how it happens with friend groups. You're like, let's do this, and then it's like, we can't do it this weekend. Something else came up.
Yep. My buddy of mine, he had married a streamer, and so her whole thing was like, she was always bouncing around games that were like trending, and if she had more of a following on. And a lot of them, like, she already had other streamers that she would play with. So if it was a game where only 3 people could play together, I wasn't getting an invite.
Oh yeah,
That
that
sort of thing.
sucks. That
So
sucks. Yeah.
yeah, which that was kind of the end of my big time gaming career.
Big
And I was like,
Nice.
yeah, I was in that. Well, and here's the reality of it, the whole getting too old to draw thing. I was in that rut of working ungodly hours, getting home, eating dinner, drinking a couple of beers, playing a video game till it was time to go to bed, or watching a movie or
Yeah.
entertainment, right? And once I had cut out the gaming part, I got a lot more drawing done. I got a lot better at drawing, a lot faster, and yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
Especially with the threat of looming death on my shoulders, it's like I must make up for lost time.
Looming death. What's
We
going on, Steve?
We all die. We all die. I don't have any like secret
Hey.
news, you know.
Okay, Steve, are you
Yeah.
all right, buddy? We
No.
got something to worry about. We gotta start a GoFundMe for you.
Yeah, right. Well, the reality of it is though, is like my dad had passed at 56, and I had some other family members that had heart attacks and strokes and stuff around that age, and I'm like,
Oh wow.
okay, so I've got maybe 15 years of like mostly in the clear, you know,
Yeah.
as long as I don't
Yeah.
go too ridiculous.
Right.
And then like things get complicated, things get dicey. So if I can put out 2 to 3 comic books a year, then I'm shooting for 40 to 50 comic books. And then I'm gone. And if you go in with that mentality of like, I've only got so much time, suddenly looking at like how many hours I have in a certain game. Not saying you shouldn't play games. You should have fun. You should, you know, enjoy life.
Yeah.
It has given me a renewed sense of urgency to get stuff done. 189 hours.
That's a lot. A lot. 2 months, I should say.
There you
Oh
go.
my goodness.
It did look like it's fun. I just any of those games that have like crafting mechanics, it's too much for me.
I'll admit I've been playing Pale World. Pale World is my go-to.
Is that the Pokemon with guns?
Yes. It's a lot of fun. I'm at the point where the game is almost like kind of over for me. Like I'm hitting max level and stuff, so I'm almost like done with it. At least until they release the next like expansion or whatever for it.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. They're like still adding on to the game. It's still technically in alpha, so yeah, we'll see what they bring to it. And I don't know. They're getting sued, so who knows what happens going to happen with it.
Did you hear about what the lawsuit was actually for?
Yes, throwing balls to capture monsters.
A game about throwing balls at monsters. It has nothing to do with the art. Everyone thought it was because they had copied the style.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that like when it comes to copying style, it's really hard to strike that down.
Yeah. There's no way they're gonna win that lawsuit, but whatever.
No.
It just seems like it's too like, all right, this is very grabby. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to sue them to get something out of it. Like it's also not gonna do well for Nintendo's image, to be honest, either.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. So we started off the show kind of talking about the Stan Lee Kickstarter. You have a Kickstarter coming up. Do you want to talk about it?
Oh yeah. So I have it's the trading card art sketching the beast Kickstarter. So where it's at right now is there's a bunch of cool tiers on here. It's going live on Friday.
This Friday.
And yes, this Friday it's going live. So I'll probably be doing a live stream. I'm still planning that out, even though I know it's already almost like Wednesday.
It's coming up quick.
I know time goes by so fast, dude. You have no idea. This week's actually been kind of a cluster for me. But yeah, it's going live on Friday. You get your chance to get some cool like art from me on cards. You can get commissions, sketch card commissions, all that stuff. So yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. I know this is, you had hit me up with a couple questions you had through the process. This is a great looking Kickstarter.
Thank you.
And the art that you have on here, these look really good.
Thank you. I spent a whole week getting all these cards Like, and I know I didn't have to do it, but I wanted to have some sort of visual representation of what you were gonna get.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I spent a whole week getting these cards, like set up and like formatted and stuff, and I actually had to redo it twice because I screwed up the first time, and I where the cut lines were like so
Mhm.
it's been a lot. It's been a lot of work, but it's been fun. You know, I'm excited. I'm excited to launch it. I think it would be really cool to have like collectible cards or just like a lot like Upper Deck and stuff like that. That you know, it's just
Yeah.
it's my artwork. So
He's looking really good. I really like you've got the 6-piecer here, or no, or is that
it's actually an 8-piecer. Yeah,
nice?
yeah, it's an 8-piecer.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's I have another one similar to that. It's gonna be I don't remember if I made it 4 or 6 pieces. But I have another one, another set like that. So this isn't even all the cards. This is about this is about I don't know 2/3 of the cards. So there's a bunch more
Nice.
that I'm coming out with, and depending on if I reach our goals, some of our I have a brain fart on the term. Some of our beyond funding goals, I'll be adding in more designs to collect as well for this set.
Yeah.
So
I like it. So where are you going to be live streaming Friday? Are you doing that here? Are you doing that on Whatnot?
I'm probably gonna do it on Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah, probably on Facebook. So head over to my Facebook page. It's just Sketchy the Beast. I might. So I'm planning on taking the whole day off. So I might do 2 sessions. I might do a YouTube stream as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, give Sketching the Beast a follow on Kickstarter and get that notify on launch so you can jump on there and get some of these deals and
Yeah.
some
Yeah, get in
commissions here.
early. Get in early. I have there's 2 tiers right now. I'm thinking about adding a 3rd tier that are the first weekend only. So and the limited availability, like you get a super awesome deal. You basically get a sketch basically like pretty almost like free, very much.
There
But
you go.
yeah, dude. So like yeah, get in early if you can.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, I'm gonna jump into going over some stuff. Excuse me. Whew. Didn't mean to cough on the microphone there. Some stuff over the last couple shows that I just did, as well as my Kickstarter. If you want to hang out, cool. If you need to get going, that's cool too.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just take a quick look at I launched Alice in Slaughterland, I believe, last week. And we are very close. Let me do a refresh here.
Killer, dude.
Very close to cracking $3,000. I was terrified launching this campaign. It's not my normal style or aesthetic. So I was like, I don't know if there's going to be a market for this. So we've got 24 days to go. So we're going to keep this thing going.
Hell yeah,
and
dude.
we've already knocked out 2 stretch goals. So I'm 5x7 prints, and then also a free Alice button for every physical backer. So if you guys haven't backed already, if you could head on over to Kickstarter and back Alice in Slaughterland, and that would mean a lot to me. If we can get up over $3,000 tonight, that would be amazing. Amazing,
dude. That's awesome.
Thank you. But let's talk about the last couple shows, because I haven't been streaming for a couple weeks. So Cleveland Tattoo, if I'm gonna be blunt, Cleveland Tattoo show is always one of my slowest paced shows. But when you look at the money at the end of the day, it's like, oh, we hit our number.
Yeah, sometimes that surprises you. You'll like sell a lot of big stuff. You didn't even realize, like, I only had like 12 customers today, but I made a pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah, if it sneaks up.
Yeah.
The one thing that's really saved me on this show was these canvas tiles that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Those have been huge, and the fun part here is then I had ordered a 4th upright to be in this corner so I could build like a cage around my booth.
Yeah.
They didn't send the pin for the upright, so I couldn't put the upright up.
Oh, that sucks.
I was really looking forward to having a full display going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was we made do with what we had, and it was still a good show all the way around. it's long hours plus driving 40 minutes back home every night. Yeah, I ducked out a little early. I had there's a couple buddies that were there from different Comic Cons, and I won't exhaust my stance on tattoo shows, but they're like, does this thing really go to 11 tonight? Yes, it does. Friday and Saturday it goes to 11.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It used to be post COVID, like coming right out of COVID, you wanted to stay as late as you could.
Yeah.
You had all these tattoo artists walking around with cash, and a
Yeah.
lot of them would be buying original art, buying prints, buying, gifts for people. Now it's like most people are staying there past 10, are either getting tattooed or they're waiting for their friend to quit getting tattooed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I actually set a personal best for this show, which is
Nice.
good.
That's awesome.
I did, like I said, there was a couple buddies that were there from the Comic-Con circuit that were just, trying to fill out the calendar. And this is where, whenever you hear us say results will vary, this is definitely results will vary. I believe both of them left early from the show.
Oh, wow.
And we're contemplating not coming back to other shows.
Oh, wow.
It's I've put 4 years into doing these, and there's only a handful of these tattoo shows that I'm keeping. At this point, like if I didn't have my regulars coming up to me and buying some big ticket items at this show, I don't think I would have gotten to that number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CROWN shows in at 9. Yeah, you'd see me passed out by 11 if I actually stayed till 11. Like,
it used to be a regular thing. I mean, some like Saturday nights, we used to stay till like 11:30.
wow.
Just because people are still tattooing, and you figure you've got some of these tattoo artists that are splitting booths. That means they're probably splitting hotels and everything else. Well, if they've got a buddy that's still working and they're waiting on them, they're going to walk around and shop.
Yeah.
And it's not as much of that going on.
Yeah.
But I did have a buddy at this one, Chris, who is a tattoo artist, that not only did he pick up a lot of art off of me, he actually was like sending people my way, which was really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
I want to point out something you said about your regulars that come around, right? Like
them.
sometimes it's worth staying at a show. I mean, obviously, you're not going to end up being broke, right, every time you do the show, but sometimes it's worth staying in a show for more than one consecutive show, because of that, you'll have those people that will come back looking for you.
Yep.
Like I feel bad. Like I physically don't think I can afford Baltimore this year, but I had people that were like, I'm looking forward to seeing you next year. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll be here, but
right.
So yeah, that's something worth mentioning. Sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah. And Cleveland, especially being more of a hometown show for me, I get a little bit of a bump there.
Oh yeah, right. It's probably not super far for you, right? Do you even have to get a hotel?
Minutes. No, I mean,
that's great.
I guess I could get a hotel, but it's like
only 40 minutes. Don't do it.
Yeah, by the time you get out of that parking garage and everything, it's like Cleveland has some affordable hotels that are close.
Yeah.
But it's like by the time you either Uber or you walk, I'd rather just go home.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you.
Now, I did have one guy that told me that he works for one of the local hotels and he really liked my stuff. He bought some big ticket items, and he's like, "Hey, man, if you're coming back for Comic-Con, hit me up. I might be able to get you a deal on the hotel." And I'm like, if you're going to take a $300 hotel down to $250 a night, I'm still not.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Try to be under 200 if I can.
Yeah. Then the next show was, this is actually kind of cool. This was this guy, Tooney Does It. He came by, he was asking me about the trading cards.
Nice.
Because he does for his card, he's actually hand cutting these out.
Oh wow.
And at first glance, it doesn't look like it's handmade. It looks like a Pokemon card.
Yeah, that's cool.
But he's actually hand cutting each of these corners.
Wow.
So I hooked him up with some information where I get mine done, and he came back with this box. And this is a thing is this little pink ducky's limited 1 out of 25 or something like that.
Oh wow.
So that was really cool. I forgot I had this on here. This is what I picture anytime that you got all these guys that are like, we out here, you know, and they're just like, we out here. I'm like, well,
Oh my goodness.
that's my.
Nice.
And this is what I was trying to get for the Cleveland show, is this other upright going.
Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you. It is a
I'm
little
jealous.
bit more of a bear to put together.
Oh, I'm sure.
I actually had to take a hole saw to one of my tables to get this leg into this corner. But this is still playing with this setup. I want to redo all these banners in the background, but I was really happy with how this turned out.
Nice.
Lexington is a 4-day show. Thursday, so you can do setup on Wednesday, which is why I wasn't able to live stream last week. It's because Wednesday I was loading in. Thursday is you can still load in, but then they do preview night. This is from like 6 to 10 p.m. And thank you, Flower. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it looks. The first year I did Lexington, I had I didn't realize how high my expectations had gotten set after that, because I had a bunch of people buy a ton of originals off of me.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, this is amazing. Collectors come Thursday night. So that's happened exactly once to me. Every other Thursday that I do, it's like you get some sales.
Yeah.
You know. But rolling that into Friday, actually, everyone was saying that the foot traffic was down Friday. But I really feel like, I was talking to a couple people about this, I think this year is going to be the year of attrition for artists setting up at these shows. Like, if you aren't doing your absolute best to bring your A game with display, your artwork, your deals, I think you're going to get overlooked. I think until the economy clears up, praying to God it clears up, and people are confident that they can spend money pretty loosely, I really feel like this is the year where you know, if you've got an extra $100 in your pocket or $200, it's like, how can I reinvest this? So that was the mentality for this. I mean, I probably dropped close to $1,000 just on upgrades for the booth this year.
Crazy.
That being said, though, like, everyone I talked to Friday is telling me that they're significantly down from last year. I'm like, I think I set a personal best.
Oh, wow. They were coming to you. They're all the money they were spending on the other guys, they were spending on you.
It was there's something to be said for that. John Taffer talks about it on Bar Rescue. And he has a book called Raising the Bar, where he talks about like your display and he talks more about like bars and grills, restaurants.
Yeah.
But when it comes to
it's all the same
what we
science.
do, it's very similar. It's very similar. So I was very happy with how it turned out. There's your obligatory. Oh yeah. So Thursday, this has become an unofficial thing, is that there's a place called Justin's House of Bourbon across the street. The first year I discovered it, I was looking for somewhere to get dinner before show started, you know, the 6 to 10. As I was walking up and opening the door, I was quickly realizing this is not a restaurant. This is a liquor store.
Oh,
and not just a liquor store, high-end bourbon.
Oh, nice.
Liquor store.
Nice.
So I was picking up a bottle for me and for a buddy of mine. He had given me some cash to get him something. But they have this tasting room where this bottle right here, it's the last of a bottle that they've got, and they kind of want to kill the bottle. It's like $190 bottle or something like that. $5 tasters.
Oh, wow.
And so I had some of that. And then this bottle, same company, this, what's it called? Rare Character? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rare Character. This bottle, apparently everything they do is super high end. This bottle is like $250. And again, $5 taster. So that's how I started my Thursday. Really
nice.
Good. Really good. I was like one of the first people done in my section getting set up.
Yeah,
so
wow.
Get a picture from afar.
That's crazy.
Um,
Excuse me, sir. That is not level.
Dude, I was I'm not overly OCD about anything, but
Yeah.
I played with all of these. It's like one little, if it's off an inch anywhere,
Yeah.
everything's off.
Yeah.
So
That's
this
a
is
pain.
the I was lucky that there was no one on either side of me that I could like get into their booth to like adjust stuff.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be a problem in the future. Let me see here. And then I did take one more video. I think this is what I'm gonna close on here, friends. This was the line. I think this was Saturday, maybe getting started.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, Saturday was a really good crowd. I will talk about one slightly controversial thing. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if any of it's true. There's a lot of speculation here. There were some rumors going around that previous year, because of the way that they had sold some of the tickets, I could be completely wrong on this. People tell me all kinds of things, that they had actually accidentally like oversold on Saturday, which it definitely felt busier last year.
Interesting.
Like when you would look around Saturday, it was like typical, like elbow to elbow, people crammed in there.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of the renovations were done on the building. I think I was even telling you they would do this thing where, like, if the room's set up like a big square, the inner donut part is artist alley.
Okay.
And the reason I would pick that spot where I have my booth is because it would overlook artist alley and you could see it from way across the room. Artist alley is no longer in that room. That area is now guest artists, and they had like the Power Rangers, like some of those folks in there too.
Yeah.
Artist alley got moved to some of the parts of the building that have been renovated that were down hallways. And some of the speculation from folks was that because they expanded the footprint, you're going to need people to fill up those spots to justify spending for the extra footprint. But then two, you can get more bodies in the door. And if they're spread out more, less congested.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Some of the folks that I had talked to were pretty irritated about some of the hallways that they had put down. Unfortunately, with Artist Alley, all of us that have done Artist Alley, I feel like that's sort of a given. There's a decent chance you're going to get hosed on your spot. That's just the nature of the beast of Artist Alley. And if you want to be on the vendor floor where you're almost guaranteed traffic, it comes at a premium.
It does, yeah.
So I don't know what to tell people on that, but I know there were some people that were bent out of shape over that.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do Lexington, I do like that they do this thing where, like, it's first come, first serve. As far as, like, if you pay for your booth, you get to pick where it is on the map. I feel like in the vendor hall, it almost, if it's going to stay in the same setup, it almost doesn't matter where you're at. It's kind of I don't know. When they had Artist Alley in the middle, you had like landmarks, right?
Yeah.
Now it's just like grid. And they don't have any, as far as I can remember, they don't have any major pillars that really get in the way. So it's just kind of you're in that room.
Yeah. Yeah, that stinks.
So, well, I mean, I think I'd have to look at numbers from last year, but I think it was a personal best. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, Lexington was good. Folks, I will be at Indianapolis Comic-Con this weekend, followed by Cleveland Fan Expo, followed by, I believe, Richmond.
I got denied for Cleveland. That stunk. I really wanted to go to Cleveland.
Yeah. Richmond Galaxy Con, and then Awesome Con, and I'm still waiting to hear back on C2E2. So I emailed them again because they sent me a promo email saying, we'll see you next month. And I'm like, I never got approved. Does that mean, am I approved?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And
check your spam box.
I emailed them like, I'm sorry if I missed something. And they're like,
I found my Fan Expo Cleveland denial in my spam box. So good thing it wasn't an approval, because I would have been like, now I gotta get ready.
Yeah, pay this bill by tomorrow. And that was six days ago, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we will see you in Cleveland. And guys, I really got to split. I got to use the restroom, and I got to get ready for tomorrow. But guys, thanks for hanging out, James. Thanks for hanging out.
Peace.
Guys, have a great night. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Adios. Bye.